Hey guys, Steve Simpson here with Central Florida Property Management. Hope everyone's doing great. I want to chat real quick about something that comes up a lot, get questions a lot by both owners and tenants, and that is involving breaking a lease. Okay, so a few things here. First of all, part of this only has to do with the state of Florida. If you live in another state, this might not apply. I'm just going to tell you what the law is in Florida. So there's a couple things to consider here. The first one being is that if the lease that you're under, or that you are a landlord or you're a party to, if you're a tenant or a landlord, if it does not include any provision to break the lease, you cannot break the lease. There's no unilateral, in Florida at least, there's no unilateral law that allows someone unilaterally to break the lease. By that I mean, the landlord can't say, hey, guess what? I'm tired of you being in the property, get out, and you legally have to get out. And the tenant can't just say, hey, I'm tired of living here, I'm getting out and not paying you anymore, and that's legal. If the lease does not allow either party to break the lease without the other one agreeing, then you're not allowed to break the lease. That's just kind of the way it is. Now in practice, that's a whole other set of worms, or can of worms. We can chat about that if you have questions, but just from a legal perspective, unless the lease says so, neither party can just unilaterally end the lease. Now in Florida, if you have a provision that allows for the lease to be broken, the law does say it has to provide the tenant with the option to choose one of two things. One would be a penalty not to exceed 2 months rent. The other would be what's called liquidated damages, which pretty much means either the amount of rent left on the lease, or more specifically, the amount of rent that the owner does not collect after they try to release the property. So just for example, if you're a tenant and you've moved out and the owner tried to release the property and they got a tenant in there 3 months after you moved out, then you would owe 3 months worth of rent to the owner because you selected the liquidated damages claim. It's a little more complicated than that, but that's the basic gist of it. So if you do have a clause in your lease that allows for you, the tenant, to break the lease unilaterally, it has to abide by one of those two options, and the tenant has to select which of those options they want at the beginning of the lease. So yeah, two big things there. Basically, one, if it's not in the lease that either party can break it without the other party agreeing to it, you can't break it. And two, if it allows for the tenant to break the lease, it has to conform to Florida law, which is at most 2 months rent penalty or liquidated damages, and that option is chosen by the tenant, not the landlord. Hopefully that makes sense. We get questions about that a lot. If you guys have any questions or want to chat about this or disagree with me, please give us a shout or leave us a comment below. All right, thanks.